A very good afternoon, and once again welcome to Blackpool Pleasure Beach for another park update today, here from Sunday the 20th of July 2025. Bit of a rarity doing one on a Sunday, haven't been on park on a Sunday in quite a few weeks. So yeah, back today to do another full park update to see what latest changes are since the last update I did about a week ago, to see what changes have mostly happened over with Skyforce, as we pointed out last time, as the ride was starting to get rebuilt, which was quite an interesting change. And also here in the gardens area, how they had started to put some like green structures in, and started to put in some of the paving slabs, like the stepping stones, on the ground as well. And we may end as well looking at the demolition over at the Bowl-a-Drome area, but I don't think there's really been much progression in that area since the last update, as they were only just doing some clearance work last time anyway. So unsure if I'll do that, but I'll have a nosy towards the end, and if it's worth showing, I'll show it, but if not, then I'll skip it out on this time. But yeah, we're going to be showing most of the park as per usual, starting here with the former Grand Prix area, the new gardens area, to see how much progression work they have done in the last week, see how much more of the paving slabs they have put down on the ground. So as I say, we're going to start down here then at the new gardens area, the former Grand Prix Helix area. Been following it quite a lot over the months, and obviously last year as well, how the demolition works did occur here with the former Helix section, which would house the ride going out from the station and back up into the station. And then of course we started to wonder what was going to go in this place, whether it's going to be a new ride straight away or just landscaping, just for the time being, whilst the get to grips with what they want to do with this area in the future. And of course the park did decide to do a landscaping project, meaning this new gardens area did come in, because when they were doing the demolition they did keep these trees all intact, and of course they kept the fountain all intact as well. Then later on we did see underneath the glass bridge that sort of like green fence being erected there in the background, with the new flower pots being installed. And then we started to see new topsoil going in, and of course the grass that you can now see fully grown is all now in this area as well. And then a little bit later into the project we started to wonder what the sort of pathways were going to be, because we noticed it started to make these little grooves out of the grass. And of course we now know they are new pathways leading from Big Dipper over here, as you can see, over towards the Sensory Garden on that side by Avalanche, and also another pathway leading down to them steps there as well, which is where one of the entrances to the Pleasure Beach Express, the train riders. So yeah, they've done a lot of pathways over the last week. I mean, last week they did only start this sort of one green structure here, and a few of those paving slabs you can see on the ground there. They hadn't really done much in the centre, but it does look like that is all pretty much complete now, all in the centre. And last week as well they did have those 5 structures over there as well, with a bunch of paving slabs on pallets over there, but they are all in place now. I would imagine probably just a bit more of a tidy up, clean up, until they figure out what they're going to put in between the paving slabs. Is it going to be tarmac? Was it going to be more gravel? Who knows at this moment in time. I'm pretty sure next week or the next 2 that it will be towards more of a completed stage, and we can see the removal of these temporary fences and actually go on and wander around this gardens area, because there is still a few bits of equipment out. As you can see, there's like a hose pipe there, some wheelbarrows, and over in the corner over there is some pallets as well over there as well. Still unsure as to what these green structures will hold, whether it's going to be lighting, flower baskets, anything like that, or whether it's just aesthetics in the area. But it does seem a bit weird how there's only one on the Big Dipper side, there's one over there on the Avalanche side, but then they do have 5 over there. It does seem a bit weird really how they have sort of like mix match amounts of them in certain areas. But yeah, they have also topped up the fountain back to its blue colour, so as over time it will lose that blue dye and turn into like a pond water, like greenish pond water. But yeah, they have topped up the blue water you can see there in the centre, and completed all the paving slabs you can see there on the bottom as well. So yeah, they keep saying hopefully next week to 2 weeks this might all be done, this project might be done, and we can actually enter and explore this area. But for now, I'll just have a quick wander around the area and to see what else we can kind of see from the gardens area. So I've just come a little bit further down the pathway here towards where the Grand Prix would come out and enter its helix section down, and to where the old monorail would first start its journey. Just have a look in this section. I mean, we did have the green structures here in the last update. We just didn't have these square paving slabs on the ground. They were all palletised just behind me. The only bits that were on the ground were on the far side by Icon's fastpass entrance and the steps just over there. But yeah, not really a lot to report on from this angle. Mostly the same apart from these paving slabs now all in. And as I keep saying, hopefully we'll just see it opened up really soon, because it is nearly, or looking like it's nearly completed. Just need to finish sort of like the in-between bits there, in between each slab, and just cover up these holes to where the foundations for these structures do go. And also, as we just come over here, just a little bit of a minor change as well. This tree and the old monorail support, it has now been sort of like blocked off in this sort of like wooden box, I would guess. So maybe it's going to be filled up with soil, stuff like that. Not entirely sure what's in them tall pallets there or in the white sacks. Probably just more stuff for the gardens area, as you can see. But yeah, we still have just a few paving slabs just in that crate there, maybe just to finish off the little bit here. But yeah, not entirely sure what's in those tall pallets there as well. And yeah, this big flower box is new since the last update. Right, so now moving away over here to Skyforce, which is definitely one of the most interesting developments for 2025, especially when the park did announce that this ride would not be opening at all this year. It's closed throughout the 2025 season. And obviously we discussed last week when we started to notice bits of the ride starting to be rebuilt. Just a quick shot, a big one there for you. Yeah, we did notice last week when certain bits of the structure had started to be rebuilt, like the seats put back on, the backs of the planes, like you can see there, like the tail fin, stuff like that, and some of the restraints had been put back on. We've still got no restraints on like the front 4 seats here, but we do have all the wings now back on, because the wings last week were underneath a blue cover on that sort of structure there. But yeah, all the wings are now fully put back on to the ride structure itself. It's just those 4 restraints not back on, and also the ride itself is still sort of like tethered down, winched down there. You can see there's like a rope attaching the centre column to the ride itself. So there's definitely been no testing as of yet, and I'm pretty sure obviously it couldn't test anyway because the restraints aren't back on all 12 seats. But yeah, it's definitely interesting how the park are starting to rebuild it. And like I mentioned last week, is this going to be a sign of it coming back for the 2026 season, along with Avictus, obviously at the other end of the park, or has it been rebuilt, like I mentioned last time as well, how the carousel, that got rebuilt. A salesperson came in to have a look at it, have probably a test ride on it, and of course bought it. So, or they couldn't operate it this year because they needed to sort of renew the licensing for the Royal Air Force. So obviously it couldn't operate and advertise Royal Air Force because it didn't have the proper licensing or sponsorship or whatever like that. And it's probably only been sort of reapplied for the 2026 season onwards. So it's a bit of an interesting one, really. But like I said last week, if it stays, happy days. It's another ride in the park. It's not one that I specifically ride a lot. I'll ride it maybe once every few weeks, if that, because it never really gets a big queue in this area anyway. I mean, the only footfall down this area really is to Burger King, and you don't want to be going on this ride after Burger King anyway, because you just throw your food back up. There has been rumours as well how people want this to be a car park, expand the boulevard. Me personally, I don't want that, because you got to think, you got the access road just down there behind the gates. You've then got to make sure the bridge underneath Big Dipper is strong enough for cars and vans and stuff like that, so it doesn't collapse through onto the train lines underneath there. And then even if you did put a car park here, just wait for that noisy Big Dipper train to go past. So yeah, even if you did put a car park here, I couldn't imagine it holding a lot of spaces really, because they use the old Skyforce shop you can see here for like Walk the Big One, Walk the Buddy. I think it's more introductional things like that. not a lot of stuff you can see around here that would really be beneficial to put the car park here. So as I was saying before the camera cut then, apologies about that, yeah, they can't see a lot of stuff in this area that would be beneficial to hold a car park, because I don't think it would hold a lot of cars in this area, especially when you think of the fence line for Icon there. It's literally the other side of the Skyforce Q-line building there. You've got the fence line in that direction where Big Dipper is. I mean, I don't think they're ever going to remove these bushes and the green space around here, so you won't be able to get a lot of cars or vehicles in here. Plus, like I say, you've got to think about the weight limits on the bridge that runs over the Pleasure Beach Express underneath Big Dipper and Big One. And obviously you've got height clearance as well. Plus the boulevard does already have an extended car park. It's over by the Pleasure Beach train station over there on Clifton Street. Just round the back there you have got the official Pleasure Beach train station. There is a boulevard extended car parking area just over there, so it goes boulevard just sort of behind there at the base of Big One's lift hill. You've then got the Big Blue, you can just see a little bit there, and obviously over there you've still got a car park round there, and then way in the distance, sort of way behind the Big One where the train station is, you do have that extra boulevard car parking over there. So yeah, as I keep saying, it's going to be an interesting one following this, if it does come back for next year, if it does get removed in the future. Only time will tell, but yeah, I don't really have a full knowledge on what's happening with this ride, apart from that they're rebuilding it for some purpose, whether to be sold or to come back next year, because from what I'm hearing, it's definitely not coming back this year, and that's the same as what the park announced at the start of this year, how those 5 rides, one being Skyforce, would not be opening this year. And of course one of those 5 rides has been removed, and then the other 3 are a mystery at the minute. I mean, the Alpine Rally, Thompson Carousel are still there. The old Eddie Sobart Convoy ride, that's still there. And of course we do have the Dodgems. I mean, Dodgems have never been announced to be coming back or to have been removed. It's just been silently sort of swept under the carpet, that one. But yeah, Dodgems, that's another abandoned area at the minute, with no certain future. But hopefully Skyforce does have a certain future, whether it's this park or another park in the UK or abroad. But as I keep saying in the last update, when we still see more progression works here on Skyforce, I'll of course be showing it and talking about my predictions and analysis on this attraction. But as for now, this is your current look here of Skyforce as of the 20th of July. Wings back on, nearly all the restraints back on, but yet to do any test runs with it being tethered down there, as you can see. So just whilst I'm down here at Skyforce, just have another quick look here at the actual station building and the queue line. Nothing really changed at all from sort of like the start of the season. It's pretty much the same as when the ride last operated, all still intact and everything. We still have the barrier here stopping you from going into this area. Not a lot of visual changes happening on the outside, and not a lot of changes I can really see from the inside of that building. I mean, I can see a few queue line poles just sort of put on the floor there. That's probably just for the indoor queue that used to be inside that building. One other theory I might have with Skyforce, maybe another reason why they couldn't operate it as well, but surely this would not permit a full year of closure for the ride, but it's in line with the sponsorship and the licensing for the ride. I mean, inside the queue line building there was TVs that showed a video of how to operate the plane, how to get it sort of rocking side to side and get it spinning. Maybe that video had to change, because during that video to what the ride actually is, the wings have been modified. It's now harder to get the plane spinning. Another notice in the video, it was saying that the main commander, the main pilot in Red 1, which is the main sort of plane for the Red Arrows, that person no longer flies for the Red Arrows or the Royal Air Force, so maybe that's another reason. In lines with the licensing, maybe they need to have a new video put on inside the queue line. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Obviously that would be the main reason for it being closed for a full year, but of course that's more in terms and more in lines with the licensing and sort of like the correct information for the ride as well. But obviously you could still have the ride operating and have those queue line TVs just turned off, but it probably adds some more of the atmosphere for the ride. You want to give false information or not let guests know how to operate the planes. and then they go on it and be like, oh, that was rubbish because I didn't get it spinning. You need some sort of instructions on how to get it going, how to get it spinning. But mostly on days when it's not windy, which to be fair, how often in Blackpool is not really windy, it is quite hard to get these types of rides spinning anyway. But yeah, that's just my little theories on Skyforce. Like I said in the last clip, due to the licensing maybe expiring, someone could be coming in to buy it, or maybe it's just having sort of like a full yearly refurbishment and back open next year. Who knows? But it'd be good if it comes back. But as I say, it doesn't really get the footfall down here. I mean, look at the pathways down here. No one really comes down here unless it is for Burger King. So yeah, don't really get the footfall anyway. Even when Bling was here back in the day, it never really got the footfall anyway. Ever since they shut the south entrance from the park off, it never really ever got the footfall or sort of like the guest throughput that the park had envisioned. So yeah, if the ride does come back next year, I can see it being on reduced hours like it was towards the end of its life, like maybe sort of like a midday opening and then close an hour before park close, stuff like that. But if it does get removed and sold, let's just hope whatever comes in this space is something worthy of a replacement for Skyforce, because I do think a ride is still beneficial here. I don't think the car park would be beneficial. Like I say, I mean, the queue line boundary fence for Skyforce is here. You've got all the supports here in the way. I mean, you've got them two here. You've got foundations and supports there. Plus, you're going to need to keep access and pedestrian footpaths still to Burger King. You can't just alienate Burger King out from the park. Well, that's what the park's planning to do. Maybe Burger King could go in the future as well. And then the park boundary would just sort of end here. Get rid of that basketball stand. And yeah, the park boundary could literally just be a fence across there. You never ever come down here ever again, because this all could be sort of like the outside park. But I can't ever imagine a car park being here, and I don't really want a car park here. This is the amusement park, so let's keep it the amusement park. Yes, the ride might not be the most exciting, but it's still a ride for people to enjoy and to spread the crowds out on those busier days. So yeah, I'm going to leave Skyforce for today, and as I say, if we keep seeing anything in the future, more progression work happening, I'll of course be the first to try and show it to you guys as well. And hopefully we do see some test runs later this year, if it comes back for next year, or if it does get sold off. Hopefully we see some test runs revolving that anyway. So yeah, we'll probably move on now to either the Bowl-a-Drome Demolition, or I may just end the video after this anyway. It depends how much progression work has happened with the Demolition, or if anything else has happened around the park, and maybe something that I've not noticed yet that I need to inform you guys on. Rightio, so I did decide in the end to just quickly film a little bit here of the progression for the Avictus site, the new ride coming for 2026. Not an awful lot to report on, but compared to last week where I said they were doing a lot of clearance work in terms of taking a lot of the rubble away, they have done in the last week a lot of sort of compacting the ground, getting it all flattened, getting it all prepared to when a massive foundation base will be needed on the ground as well. And also there will be formal demolition work taking place in the next month or so, but for the time being, you can clearly see here more rubble has now started to appear, as they're now starting to compact the ground even more to prepare for foundation work. So yeah, when I was actually on board the big one earlier on today, you could see the digger here, and you could see how much of the old ground, the old arcade ground, has now been took up, which is probably a lot of all this concrete and stones all here you can see. And yeah, they are starting with that digger to sort of grind the ground up a little bit, and there was a compacting device just behind the rubble as well, getting the ground flattened and prepared to when the massive foundation base will be needed to hold the actual structure of the ride next year. So yeah, former Bowl-a-Drome, former Planet Rock, soon to be Avictus, the new ride for next year. And it's always good to see lots of progression and changes happening on the park, whether it's for good things or bad things. It's always good to report on them regardless of what they are. But of course I'll just show you a little bit towards the left in just a second, see what we can see from them angles. But here is your current look from this angle today. So one final look then here at the Demolition construction site. Not an awful lot of changes from the view. Obviously we still have that outer wall there, the only remnants of the old Bowl-a-Drome building still intact. Probably the last few sections to be taken down in the later months. And of course, like I say, you got this new mound of rubble here from when that digger and the compacting device has started to rip up some more of the floor of the old arcade, and also starting to get it flattened in preparation for that foundation work to commence. So yeah, not an awful lot to report on from the arcade construction site, but yeah, it was worth showing just a little bit today. But of course, I've showed you more changes happening with the gardens area, how more sort of paving slabs have gone down, a little bit more grass has grown as well, of course, and also moved over to Skyforce. I nearly forgot its name, then it's been shut for so long. Yeah, moved over to Skyforce to show you the latest changes with that one, the progression work happening with the rebuild of that ride, how it's a very interesting situation happening with that ride. And also ending here with the demolition construction site for Avictus, with more clearance taking place, and also groundwork now taking place as well. So if you enjoyed this video here today, be sure to hit the subscribe button, tick the bell so you don't miss out on any future Pleasure Beach updates, and I'll be back again with some more in the future. See you all soon.